Hello, witches and witchlets. Birch here with another video. A lot of people been commenting how they can't hear a lot of the videos, so I think I'm going to do it on my phone and on my good computer from now on, because whenever I do it on my netbook, you get those sucky videos that people can't hear on their mobiles. So many people using their mobiles. Today's video, very special. A friend and a listener out there named Kevin. I won't say much more about Kevin because Kevin is secretive. Kevin is he's one of my viewers. He lives on an island off the coast of Africa, and I probably shouldn't say what island, so I'm not going to say what island. But he asked me, he said, you know, are you free? Because they're not free. They're Muslim, and I mean, mostly Muslim. I don't know who else, but the Muslim-dominated society. But Africa is one of the places where they still actually burn witches. You know, Africa is a huge place, so I can't say everywhere in Africa, but places in Africa, it's one of the places they still burn witches. We are, as a people, we are not free. But he asked me if I was free, and I have to say I'm pretty free. Freer than living in Africa. You know, I'm free to practice my religion, and that's why I'm doing the video. Let's see, today's the 3rd, tomorrow's the 4th, and I'm an American, and that is the celebration of our Independence Day. While I may disagree with my government quite often, most of the time, still consider myself a patriot. I've always considered myself a patriot, believe in my country, believe in the principles that it stands for, because they're good principles, even though the people in charge often are not following the principles that our country is founded on. They're damn good principles. And there's always a lot of debate in America, especially now with this election that we've got coming up. The right-wingers, the Republicans, have gone crazy with their Christian stuff to an extreme that I didn't even think was possible in this day and age. But it should be noted, as I note all the time on Facebook to remind people, America was not a Christian country. The United States of America was not a Christian country. I challenge anybody to find one of our founding fathers that was Christian. There probably might have been one, maybe two, but even the ones that were Christian were also Masons. The big dominant factor in our founding fathers is that they were Masons. They were from an occult, secret society with a lot more in common with us than with Christianity or with any other known system. And our founding fathers wanted to have religious freedom from the Church of England. So they put into the Bill of Rights, Constitution, concepts of separation of church and state. I'm walking around my shop right now and I see something I have to fix while I'm talking to you, so I'm going to fix this thing. Separation of church and state, and the reason why they wanted separation of church and state is because for far too long the church was the state, and that was the beginning of our problems. Kings that were the religious leaders. King James, classic example. King James, one of the chief offenders of our people, when he changed the words malefica and benefica. He changed thou shalt not suffer a poisoner to live to thou shalt not suffer a witch to live, because he got to do that because kings got to control the Bible. Kings got to rewrite the Bible. Men in power got to control religion and thereby get more power. And so that didn't work for our founding fathers, so they made sure that they put that separation of church and state. And the reason they put separation of church and state in there is because they feared the Christian power structure. So Americans seem to forget that, and the politicians bring up all this Christian crap all the time. This was never a Christian country, and definitely the natives that lived here before we got here were not Christians. So, but here in America, we are relatively free. Our witchcraft, at least the religious side of witchcraft, Wicca, has been recognized as a religion in America since, I believe, '84. Not as long as some people think. You can see the stirs of it, paperwork and meetings and stuff happening in the 70s, from around '74. The Minneapolis witch meet happened, where they came up with a lot of the policy that witchcraft in America runs under, but it didn't officially become a recognized religion until '84. And then it was just a few years back that we got a tombstone in the military graveyard. So we have witches out there fighting on the front lines in Iraq and Afghanistan, fighting for, we don't really know what. I'm trying not to get too political, but we don't know what. We're often told in America that our soldiers are fighting for our freedom, but that really hasn't happened since World War II. There really hasn't been anybody that wanted to come take our freedom from us since World War II. Maybe Al-Qaeda wants to take our freedom, I'm not sure exactly. Yeah, I guess Al-Qaeda would like to take our freedom, but I don't know what they would do with it, because they don't believe in freedom. But anyways, it's almost America's birthday, so I figured the question was appropriate. We have pretty good religious freedom. We have entire churches, entire organizations. You go to places like Salem, and there's a witch store on every corner. Here in Santa Cruz, we use the word witchcraft very liberally. Our sign out front says "Witchcraft Wears," not just Wicca. We've come a long way and been able to actually reclaim the word witch, which is still a bad word in a lot of the places of the world, but we are relatively free. But we are not all free everywhere. In India, Africa, probably other countries, they still persecute witches. In a lot of countries, witch is still a bad word, and they'll use other things, or they'll disguise what they're doing as Catholicism. But we should be free, and one of the few documents that we all have in common, the Charge of the Goddess in all its forms, the original version said, "And you shall be free, and free in everything, and as a sign that you be free, you shall be naked in your rights." And then it says, and you shall play the game of Benevento, and extinguishing the lights, have your supper thus. That's a whole different thing. But then the last line, "And this shall last until the last of your oppressors is dead." Now, I don't know if we limit that by country or we limit that by world. In America, we still have oppressors. Not so much in Santa Cruz. We're pretty free. Santa Cruz, we're pretty damn free. Everybody's really, really free. In Santa Cruz, California. California's a little freer than the rest of the country. California is often given a hard time by the rest of the country because we're just too liberal. We're too liberal. We are the land of fruits and nuts, and that's cool, because I don't want to go to the South. I know a lot of people are into root work and stuff these days. It's really popular, and I like it too. I grew up in a Hoodoo Path, but I sure in the hell don't want to glorify the South or go to the South. Anywhere near the Bible Belt, I don't want to be there, because I am the type of guy that can't keep my mouth shut. Funny thing, just a few days I was arguing with some twit on the internet that it accused me of being too secretive. If you watch my videos, too secretive, I'm giving it away constantly. But the funny thing that this very uneducated woman said was, the reason for witch persecution is that we are secretive. That's the whole reason that we got persecuted. You know, I'm sorry, you need to read some books, dear. I don't think she's actually going to watch my videos, but anybody that thinks such a silly-ass thing, read some history. The Druids welcomed the Christian priests with open arms and shared everything with them, and that was the beginning of our sorrows. Actually, you know, it was probably hundreds of years before the sorrows started, but being too open led to having to be secretive. It's a chicken and an egg thing. The reason that witchcraft became secretive is because it was persecuted, not the other way around. And it's ludicrous to think otherwise. There's nothing in history, either hidden history, folk history,